Oh, Tony's just on.
My favorite part. So I'm going to call our meeting to order, and it is 7:02. So first up, I need a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting.
So moved. Second?
Okay. Brian, Lisa, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 7-0. We have some fun stuff. It's exciting to see people at our meeting tonight. We don't always have as many folks here, so welcome, welcome. Very exciting. And I think up first, we're going to be doing some art recognition. So I will welcome folks.
Art educators?
Yeah. And I think Mr. Provenzano is going to pull up the PowerPoint.
Right. On cue, right?
And when you're up there, just make sure you turn on the microphone.
So it's green.
Got it.
And I know we were able to look at the PowerPoint ahead of time, which was nifty. And I think Rich was saying that this is the most,
I would exit out of one of those so you're not trying to
Oh.
download twice.
this is the best slide deck we get to see all here.
Thank
Because
you.
it's actually colorful and has a lot of fun content. Not that our, other slides aren't, but we're excited to have you here tonight. And if you go to the top one,
Oh, yeah, it's taking a second.
Can you sing and dance?
I can.
John, you're very talented.
I can't dance. I
3
can't
minutes
sing.
left. It went from 9 to 3 and.
No, 4.
Now we're at 4. Now I'm-
Can you plug it into Rich's or Erica's? Because they both have it downloaded.
Good work. Thank you.
I don't know if it will change.
I can kind of get started and talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think there's probably stuff
So
on
tonight
it.
we're going to be recognizing students for the Finger Lakes exhibition at RIT and the photography exhibit that just closed last week. So.
This help. The RIT show is
Sarah
like
just
a
emailed it.
5-county
Yeah,
area,
it's the
and
Finger Lakes region.
teachers can select a total of two
Students.
So it's highly competitive. And that should be it.
Yep.
Who's
Who owns it?
Oh, it's,
Oh, no. Okay.
well, this is awkward.
Do we want to go ahead to the Winter Scholar while we?
well, it's going to be the same thing
Okay.
because it's saying it's not internet enabled.
Let me see.
It's just a matter of, can you screencast the file up there?
It's working on it.
Does anyone have a flash drive?
It looks like it's almost,
And it keeps going from 5 to.
well, we could probably ask John if maybe we can just use mine. Thank you, Jeremy.
Or
Yeah.
a flash drive?
Or a flash drive, but I do have it on my computer if you wanna. I think all of us do, yeah.
Except for me. Okay. Right.
So you're going to have to unlink it here.
I'm right here.
Okay. All right, you do Windows K. There you go. That's all right.
No,
It's a
no,
building
I've
for
done well, let's
What's
do
the address?
If you were here, this wouldn't happen.
Oh, look at that.
Yay. Not awkward at all.
And it needs to be put on paper right now.
Yay!
So tell me when you would like to move
Okay.
on. And because of my job, I have closed captioning. So we
Awesome.
will also have closed captioning.
Thank you for your
Yay.
Yes.
You can go ahead and
Okay.
move forward. So it's called the Start Here exhibit. That's at RIT. It's the Bevier Gallery. Every year we have the show where artists are selected by their art teachers, two artists by each art teacher. And then the show is put up in January
Would you
and
like
runs
to
for
go
2
first?
weeks. Go ahead.
The show is, as John said, the whole Finger Lakes region, but of the whole Finger Lakes region, and we only picked 2 students. It's also limited to about 170 total works. So it is a lot of eligible students and very few get in.
So this is Charlotte Carr, and her jewelry piece, which is Band of Broken Ties.
And if you are here,
I know,
we
looking
would
for
like
Charlotte.
Not here. You can walk on
No?
up. If your name comes up, just walk on up.
There
to,
you
yeah,
go.
come on up, take a bow. If you brought your artwork, if you would, give us a sneak peek.
Kate Foster. This is her oil pastel Between Valleys. Ethan Torres, right here.
It is here.
Ethan not only was in the show, but he also won the award from the School of Photographic Arts and Sciences, and he also received a $24,000 a year scholarship for 4 years. So congratulations. David Bernhard, right here. Their oil pastel Built to Last. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
You don't have to stand there the whole time.
You can stand there the whole time, but we'll work on it. And
This is Violetta. I'm gonna try not to ruin the name. Linko Hedjieva. She is JP, and I think they're in DC right now.
yeah, Aubrielle Lacara from Key Lime Pie,
So too.
also in DC.
Ezra Drew. Ezra. Ezra's octopus playing chess. Also won the School of Design Young Artist Award. Mackenzie.
Mackenzie brought her piece.
Mackenzie Foot.
That is so beautiful.
Ceramics, gilded art.
Oh, it has an inside. Oh,
It
wow.
is a ceramic jewelry box, but it is kind of gilded, gold leafed, and velvet lined.
Wow. Very nice. Beautiful job.
Thank you. Next, Mallory Wilson. With her Georgia O'Keeffe study, the prototype she has tonight.
Yes, because it looks much larger in the picture.
The main one, that is at the District Art Show currently. And as you can see, it's about 4 feet by 2.5, almost 3 feet. So huge. Congratulations.
Yes.
Avery Hallrock. I believe your piece is at the District Art Show currently as well.
Which is up till Thursday this week. So at Barrington Square Mall.
Yeah,
chock
if you
full.
haven't seen it, awesome show.
It
Very good
is.
show. Thank you.
And Claire Kiner, Falling into Thoughts.
Liesel
Sesame?
Liesel Sesame? Liesel.
Liesel.
Huh? Is this Mrs. DeCheck?
And Eva Parsons, Color Pencil. Eva?
No?
Look at that cheese bowl.
And this is from the Image City Show. Thank you. This is photography students from the high school. Throughout the county, we selected 10 artists to send work to, and it's really a great show. We had a tough time picking this year from all the entries. The students submit work to us, and then we go through and we select work to send from the students sending them in. So Logan Fassy, his Sunset Wheel, and Colin Cluse, his photo of Canterbury, which is very nice. Ethan Torres again, Stillness in Transit.
Oh, it is New York City.
And Ethan right now is doing some amazing work in advanced photography. So looking forward to see what he does, film, digital. He had 2 pictures in this show. He also had Suspended City. And Madison had the Erie Canal Sunset.
Wow, that's really pretty.
Great photo. Nadia. Good student. Midland Time. And Roscoe Broadbent. Roscoe, Cedric Kimball. Great photo. Taylor's photo of Ultraviolet.
No Taylor?
No, Taylor's not here. And then Rebecca Gillette. And Summer Clark, Cozy. Sunday Cozy Tea. So we'd like to thank you for recognizing students. And once again, feel free to check out the District Art Show. It'll be up till Thursday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris and John, thank you so much. If you're an artist here, can we get a picture of you? I think Lindsay Reddick is here, so we'll probably get a picture of you.
Yeah, can we have all the students that have work represented? Can you come down?
And if you have your work, you could probably bring it with you.
You gotta be right in the
Yes.
front here. Right here. Around the podium.
Make it really weird with the art, holding it weird.
And if you want to sneak out.
Thank you.
Scholars, they don't need technology.
Yep. And if you are more than welcome to stay for the rest of our board meeting. We have 2 more presentations, which is exciting as well. So we have Dollars for Scholars with us, and we also have our athletic scholar athlete to also go over.
So we'll ask the Dollars for Scholars to come up because we're working still on our technology.
Windows K.
We don't need Windows K for that one. Yeah. So we're good for that.
Yep.
Have
So
a
if
good
you are
night.
with
Our
Dollars
Dollars
for
for Scholars
Scholars,
friends, please come forward.
yeah.
Thank you, students. No one ever takes us up on the offer.
Yeah. Should I pull it back up or?
No, what's his number?
Good evening.
Hi, and you already found the microphone, so you're good.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to come and see you again. Seems like it was just yesterday that I was here to make a presentation as well. And tonight we're going to present the Donna Yaman Honor Award to former Dollars for Scholars board member Pat May, who is in that very colorful sweater right there. And you probably know her well. I'm Eileen Hartman from Dollars for Scholars from the board, representing the members of the chapter this evening. Next to me is also Shannon Yaman, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why she's up here as well. The award being given this evening to Pat May is especially important, not only because Pat was a close friend for many years to the late, great Donna Yaman, named for this awesome honor, but also because they were equally and passionately committed to the success of the students of the Fairport Central School District. So joining me this evening, we have Pat and her husband Bill and her son Matt. And where Matt is, we also have Phil Yaman, Senior, and Phil Yaman, Junior, with us back here, if you can see them. Okay.
I'm glad you clarified.
And
She's a surprise visit.
very nice. And your first name is? Megan. Very good. Megan is here as well. So we're happy to see all the Yamans. And to my left here is Shannon Yaman. Last year she came up and stood by my side, and I wondered, what was I missing? What was I supposed to do? But this year I was a little more prepared. She is our connection to Donna through her presence here this evening. And many of you may know her already as well. Also in the audience are several of the Dollars for Scholars board members, Debbie Reynolds and Heather McCarthy, and a former member and her husband, Jim and Karen Uncless. So we're happy to see everybody. Did I miss anybody? Okay, I think I got it all. I present to all gathered here my friend and colleague, Pat May, who has served this community in a variety of capacities, significantly as a member of the Fairport Central School Board from 1981 through 1996. Pat learned of the establishment of Dollars for Scholars chapter while she was serving on the school board. She joined the board of Dollars for Scholars and then used her knowledge of the school district to strengthen the mission and the activities of our organization. Pat served as an active board member and was elected as a leader of our Dollars for Scholars chapter. As an active and engaged participant, she fulfilled a term of service to the board that would last over 30 years. Using her gifts of communication and a natural gift of leadership, she has contributed time, talents, treasure, and skills while paving the pathway for others to succeed. Pat has been an idea generator, thrusting us forward towards success of our goals, raising funds for local students, and turning those funds into scholarships that assist in fulfillment of educational goals. In June of 2026, we will be awarding, you ready? $119,100 to local students for their educational pursuits. Every year we build more and more, right? And continue on to help the students from the school district. The Fairport community has benefited greatly from Pat's enthusiastic involvement. Her spirited participation as a model citizen activist leads us to recognize Pat May as a true community hero. We are pleased that she is our Fairport Parents and Dollars for Scholars 2026 Donna Yaman Honor Awardee. And there she is in her colorful outfit. We have a presentation for her to take home, acknowledging her more than 30 years as a member of the Board of Directors of Dollars for Scholars, using her talents, time, and treasure to enhance the mission and activities of the organization in support of the graduating students of the Fairport Central School District. And then we also have with us the plaque, which we will hang out in the hallway that continues to build on the many, many people that we have honored. I forgot to mention my husband also was an honoree. He was an honoree and is serving as our photographer this evening. You want to hold that? Yeah. So thank you. Yes. Oh, yeah.
I promise I won't be long.
Oh,
But
you are
this
more
is
than welcome.
overwhelming. When Eileen sent me the write-up that she had done, I wrote back and I said, who is she? And actually, I figured it out today, I think. I was an English major and an English teacher and counselor, school counselor. Math was never my strong point, but I was on the board for 45 years. That's wrong. We'll leave it at over 30 years. Joined in 1991. And one of my recruits was Donna Yeoman, who was a dear friend. She went on to be president and very involved. We started the phone-a-thon, the two of us, which has been a good source of funds for the kids. I feel very honored to have been chosen. I feel so humbled and delighted and humbled that my name will be forever linked with Donna's. After the more than 25 years of the two of us serving the greatest organization in Fairport, I think, Dollars for Scholars. We appreciate your support always and hope it'll continue to be successful. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Dollars for Scholars, and congratulations to Pat. Again, you've been a bright light and a supporter of all of our schools and everything Fairport. So you make us all better. So thank you.
And I think, Lindsay, did you get a bunch of photos?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
I want to
they-
make sure.
Handed and stayed. We're good.
Wonderful. Congratulations. You take a seat too. Thanks for joining us. And I know that many of us will be there for the ceremony. So, and I think some of us have seniors this year too. So, and I know some of us have had past students that have received awards as well. So,
You do so much for these
Yeah.
kids.
Yep.
Thank you.
Glad to see you, Mom.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, not as exciting, sorry, Mr. No, it is. It's exciting. It's exciting. But we are going to celebrate our Winter Scholar athletes. So,
Mr. Killian, you do this 3 times a year, and it's an opportunity for us to celebrate academic interscholastic excellence. So, Mr. Killian's going to celebrate, honor, recognize Winter Scholar athletes for 25 minutes.
Yep, thank you. Every season, our State Athletic Association, they will honor teams and individuals that excel in the classroom. These student athletes, teams, and schools work very hard throughout the year and deserve to be recognized for their academic success. To receive Scholar Athlete Team recognition with a certificate, the varsity team's average GPA for 75% of the roster must be greater than or equal to 90. There's also opportunities for individual student athletes to earn that recognition. First, I'd like to congratulate our boys alpine ski team, coached by Chris Barker. And as you can see, the team won their Scholar Athlete Award, 94.02 GPA, and a special congratulations to Alessandro, who was a state qualifier and also a member of the All Greater Rochester team. Also with girls alpine skiing, coached by Chris Barker, his girls team was also Scholar Athletes. They had a 96.95 overall GPA. Moving on to boys basketball, coached by Scott Fitch. They were Division I champions in our league, co-champions. They were the AAA Section 5 champions and also state finalists in the AAA classification. His team won the Scholar Athlete Award, and you can see the student athletes that had individual recognition based on league play and sectional play. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to our girls basketball team, coached by Tom Vasey, and you can see the individual honors there. They were AAA Section 5 finalists. They also won the Monroe County Sportsmanship Award given out by our Basketball Officials Association, which was a really nice award, especially since they were seeded #1 in the tournament. So special congratulations to them. They had a GPA of 94.28. Boys basketball was 93.09. Moving on to boys bowling, coached by Jamie Maskley and Angela Hyman. You can see the individual honors by our bowlers that qualified for the state championships and also won all-county recognition as well as all-greater Rochester recognition. We also merged with East Rochester, so it's actually a Fairport/East Rochester team merger. Congratulations to our boys bowling team. Our girls bowling team, also coached by Jimmy Maskley and Angela Hyman. They were individual Scholar Athlete Awards. Congratulations to Olive and Mackenzie for achieving that. And also congratulations to Anna and Tiffany. Tiffany was the individual Section 5 champion, and both Tiffany and Anna went on to the state championships to represent Section 5. Winter cheerleading, coached by Olivia Pesci. They had a 93.96 overall GPA. Congratulations to our cheerleaders that were first team and second team all-county members. Again, 93.96 overall GPA. Moving on to boys ice hockey, they made it to the semifinal round. It was great to see their success. They had a 92.37 GPA, and you can see the All County nominees for ice hockey, coached by Chris Mredder. Congratulations to them. Our boys indoor track team, coached by Ben Bulkley. Very, very large team, and as you can see, lots of success. I will highlight Andrew Green and Jackson Hickey, who represented us in the state championships, and you can see all of the student athletes that were all county picks, all county selections, all Greater Rochester. Such a fantastic season for them. They had an overall GPA of 91.35. Our girls indoor track team, coached by Christy Moore, very, very large roster. Can't thank the coaches enough. And you can see from the indoor track team just the amount of success that they had. So many student athletes moving on to the state championships. Savannah and Anna, Tanique, Michaela, Brenna, Mallory, Courtney, Olivia, Lily, Gabby, Riley, all did very, very well, and we're so proud of them. They had a overall team GPA of 94.08. Tony Kerr is our boys Nordic ski coach. They really had some wonderful weather towards the end of the winter. Congratulations to them, with Will Dezek being first team All County and a state qualifier. They had an overall GPA of 96.29. Also coached by Tony Kerr, girls Nordic skiing. You can see the team members. Congratulations to them. And they had an overall GPA, actually the highest of all of our teams, 96.78. Congratulations to boys swimming and diving, coached by Mike Kennedy and Ryan Callan. They had a overall GPA of 93.35, and you can see the recognition of our athletes with all county and all state really being well recognized. Special congratulations to James, Alex, Jack, and Jake for competing at the state championships. They had a 93.35 overall GPA. Boys wrestling, they had individual scholar athlete winners. Congratulations to our wrestlers that achieved that, and also to our wrestlers that were able to advance on to the state championships, Trey, Carter, and Marco. Congratulations to them. And also our girls wrestling program, second year in existence, coached by Tim Herman and Sarah Gardner. They also had individual scholar athlete award winners. You can see those up on the slide. And special congratulations to Violet, who was a state qualifier, and the rest of our all-county picks. Mary Trones, she was a Monroe County champion. I'd like to thank all of our families that are watching and student athletes. It's certainly, I realize, a challenge to keep up on your studies, especially in the wintertime with late nights, and you're always dependent on the weather. And also for our business offices support, transportation, superintendent of schools, and Board of Education for your support. Thank you.
If you really think about, like, there's 17 teams, I believe, you just celebrated academic excellence. I mean, that speaks to the quality of, right? Am I right? 17?
16? We were counting, yeah.
Really appreciate the effort. It doesn't, it's not an easy feat. All the commitment, late nights, both the families, our coaches, and of course, the students who just do an amazing job of representing.
Yeah, the amount of kids on those indoor track teams this
Wow.
year, and the fact that as a group
They made it.
they got it was pretty impressive.
Extremely impressive for a large roster. Dealing with limited space, renting facilities. It is truly amazing to watch the coaches work their craft throughout the season. Not just indoor, but all of them. But yes, I certainly recognize the large rosters for sure.
Thank you. And again, yeah, congratulations to all of our student athletes.
You guys
Okay.
need to sneak out.
Oh, yes, you can
Yeah,
absolutely
understand.
leave, yes. But you are welcome to stay as well.
You're being so polite, yes.
So we do not have anyone signed up for public comment. Which, oh. And our student advisors actually presented during our workshop. So if you're looking for that, you can check it out on the recording. So we do not have that tonight, which leads us to the president's report, which is me. So since we last left, since we were last here, there's been lots of exciting events across the district highlighting student achievement in academics, music, and technology. So one of the standout experiences, I think, for our K-8 students was Spark Night, which I had the opportunity, and I know a number of our board members also had the opportunity, and one of them participated as well, to be there. And it was definitely bursting with energy, and it was just, outstanding. There were community organizations, local companies, and tons of interactive booths, hands-on sharing, activities, materials, and just really some experiences that I think students really benefited from. Also, just want to thank our Spark teachers, because I know they were there as well for a long time and had many, many students with them throughout the night. Another big exciting thing was the Prisms concert, which continues to be one of my personal favorites. I don't have any kids that are in music, unfortunately, so for me, being able to go to it and hear from all different students and just everything is amazing. So I know that our community feels the same. A lot of folks were there that may not even have kids here anymore. So just an incredible showcase of our high school students and their musical talents. So I will just highlight one of my particular favorites was the percussion group. They were pretty creative and performed using garbage cans, which was a little different.
That was cool.
It was very cool. So congratulations to our musicians. Additionally, since we last met, the board had the opportunity to tour our alternative ed program, and we also were able to observe the ongoing construction, as most people know, around our high school. So it was a great opportunity for everyone to see what's happening, things that we hadn't seen in a long time, classrooms, the library work, just amazing. We're excited for all the transition, and also the tech wing, which is much taller than I think I anticipated. So just was wonderful to look at all the time, effort, and care that everyone has put into that as well. And then another thing I do want to mention, and then I am going to hand it over to Mary Caitlin in a second, but I know that, we're being approached. A lot of community members are asking about our budget, which we are going to talk about tonight, and how it's developed. So if you aren't with us all the time, there are a number of recordings, and we did have a series, the Under the Hood. There were budget sessions they were open to the public and recorded, and it talks about how that budget really is developed. We've also had a number of recorded workshops where we went over the non-instructional budget, the instructional budget, and we've had lots of discussion. So when you see us here tonight, listening and asking some questions and approving different things, there's a lot that has happened prior to this meeting. So I just wanted to point out that if you have questions, please check out the YouTube videos or reach out. I know we've had a number of community members reach out, and I think the board and Mr. Provenzano is more than welcome to share information and get back to you. So, and the other thing I'm going to say is it is Administrative Assistant Day tomorrow, so the board wanted to thank Sarah for all of her hard work and coordinating and dealing with all of us. So thank you, Sarah. Absolutely. Thank you
for all you do.
Yes. I'm going to make one more comment and then I'll stop talking. We're waiting for our state budget to be passed.
What?
Yeah, and I know we'll probably mention it many times tonight, but another thing just in terms of things that our community can do, reaching out to our legislators and advocating, reminding them that we are waiting and, just different things that we need to know about before we can move forward. It is tricky every year that, all the school boards, all the districts across the state have to come up with their budget before knowing what is actually happening at the state level. So advocating is always key, and we do have that information on our website. So I am going to pass it over to you, Mr. Provenzano.
For my report, I think everybody's talked about all the wonderful things that are happening throughout our entire district. the value in our school are seen every single day, and you just walk into our schools, whether it's in the morning, throughout the day, or in the evening. There's lots of activity, lots of learning, lots of celebrating going on, and we're really proud to be a part of that. Great data, great input for us to continually use as we talk about budgets and all the great things happening in our school district, talk about all the great things that are happening in our school district. We've talked about the consolidation. There are 8 pillars of consolidation, and we've been talking about them throughout the year. I'm going to cede my time to some really talented individuals. I'm going to ask them to come forward. Principals, they're going to be talking about the time change, particularly in the K-8 arena. So please come forward. And we have also John Kidd for transportation, who's going to be adding. You're very talented too, Mr. Kidd. You have a very important part because you're going to be talking about some of the nuances relative to the time change. So thank you. Yeah, take some lunch.
We have an arranged order.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're prepared.
Of course they do. It's highly
We're very
organized.
prepared.
And you can appreciate that.
Okay.
Boston with her ukulele.
She's not. Oh, she's not. She's in Hilton now. So I know. You never know. You never know. Well, thank you so much for letting us speak tonight, specifically about the time change. So we've done a lot behind the scenes as far as just planning, brainstorming, collaborative conversations. So we really wanted you to have a chance and the public to just hear some of those logistics and key points that we're going to all be living in a few months.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add to that, be new to JP in the middle school world for me next year. This will all be new for me as well, so it's not going to be much of a change for me. But I'm looking forward to helping with this process, and quite frankly, my esteemed colleagues here are going to share some more details about those logistics. But everybody that we've spoken to and all the stakeholders that we are working with to make a very thorough plan, a proactive plan, all understand that there's no blueprint for a consolidation and a time change at the same time. So this is a work in progress. We're working very hard at making sure that we're turning over every rock and being prepared, but everybody's very understanding that there's going to be ebbs and flows with this and monitoring, adjusting. So with that, thank you for all your work and support. And I'll turn it over to Mr. John Kidd with some transportation logistics.
All right, thank you, Don. So we basically just looked at some numbers. We've done a preliminary routing of all of next year, and we determined that 90% of our AM pickups for elementary school age students would be 7:05 to 7:25. The 90% of the secondary pickups will be 7:58 through 8:25. The earliest pickup for elementary, there's 2 that are 6:31 and 6:36 currently. They're both north side school runs. Primarily because they're in the southern end of the catchment, and it takes a while to get out there. The latest drop-off elementary is 3:23 p.m. Latest drop-off for secondary is 4:29. Which the earliest, the start times? 7:05 a.m. to 7:25 for elementary, and 7:58 a.m. to 8:25 for secondary.
Here in one shot. This is just have a fluid conversation and ask questions.
Yeah.
And all the great things.
And then as far as drop-offs, 90% of elementary drop-offs will be between 2:20 and 2:50 in the afternoon. Secondary between 3:35 and 4:15 in the afternoon. And then I just ran some numbers for our average bus loads. For 26-27, the average bus load for our elementary buses will be about 35 students. This year it's about 28, so it'll be up a little bit. Secondary runs grades 6 through 8. The numbers will be about 33 students per bus. It was 25 in 25-26. A lot of that was due because there was no time to get the kids. You can only put so many kids on the bus. And then 9 through 12, for 26-27, we're looking at an average of about 50 students, which sounds high, but ridership will not be like that. We know that there won't be that many kids on the bus.
For 25-26, we had 29 students approximately on 26 high school buses, 15 Minerva DeLand buses. And then I ran numbers of average run times. The average run time for elementary will be about 37 minutes. The longest ride time would be 61 minutes, and that was that one student, I think, that gets picked up at 6:30 in the morning. The secondary schools would be about 39 minutes, and 25-26 it was 37 minutes. Oh, and elementary times were about the same, 37 minutes for ride time this year as well. We took our bus number of buses at each school. At Brooks Hill, we were going to have 14 buses for 26-27. And I have a typo. There should be a number for 25-26. I don't have it here. I want to say it was like 17. I'm not, do you know? Yeah. Was it something like that? So we've got fewer buses there. Jefferson Avenue, we're going to have 13 buses for 26-27. 25-26, we have 16. Northside Dudley, 27 buses for 26-27, down from 34 this year. JP, we're going to have 14 buses, down from 17 this year. Martha Brown, 17 buses, down from 26. At the high school, we'll have the same number of buses, 26 buses, and basically it's consolidating the ninth graders into the runs. There really wasn't going to be a need to add buses. That's kind of all the numbers. One of the things that was a concern for us as a department was what happens a lot of times currently with our elementary school runs is we don't have parents at home, and the buses have an opportunity to return at the end of the run or take the students back to the school. But being a first tier for 26-27, that really won't be possible. So if there aren't parents at home, we've established Minerva DeLand as a drop-off point that will be supervised, and will drop off any students that don't have parents at home.
Sorry, that's for K2 kiddos, right? You have to visualize
K2
that.
primarily, but if our drivers determine that a safe haven does not exist for 3 through 5,
They'll take them
then
there
they'll
as
take them there as well. Yeah. That's pretty much what I've got.
I have a question. So
Yes.
just looking, as I'm listening to those numbers, so you said there's basically no significant change to the average run time.
Right.
But there's across the board reductions in the number of buses. So like logistically, how does that work where you have?
Well, again, so primarily with the secondary schools, we're putting more kids and covering the same area because we didn't have the time to do the runs, and it's just the way it worked out.
Is there a change to like how frequently the bus is stopping along the route?
The
Like
stops.
distance students are
The
walking?
stops are probably about the same.
Okay.
I don't have the exact numbers of total stops from last year or from this year to next year, but it's going to be pretty darn similar. I mean, it's the same number of students.
So it's not on the student side. It's not a big difference as far as that's
Right. The
how
whole
far they're
bus
walking
ride,
to get
the
to a
whole time of
stop or
bus,
anything.
there's
Okay.
really not going to be a great deal of difference.
How
Great.
earlier or later they could sleep in.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really everything's just kind of shifted.
That's great. Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to talk a little bit about just the general broad look at the master schedule and then leave it to the people after me to get into some of the logistics, but feel free to ask questions. I might just say it's coming. For the master schedule, we wanted to really take a look at things from kind of the bird's eye view, which we haven't really had a chance to do. Year after year, especially at the elementary level, you just kind of roll over your master schedule and make tweaks here and there. But we had some opportunity here that was, a great chance to really refine some things that we wish we could have had along the way. So for example, a kudos and a thank you to John and the transportation team and for all of you for helping us be able to make sure that we were a tier 2 time change school district. It allowed all 4 elementary schools to finally be on the same time. And if you don't realize what that's like when the 4 of us are texting each other, like you would know, it's hard. It's hard for so many reasons I won't go into. So allowing us to have tier 2 or 2 tiers and being the first tier provided us some opportunities. So I'll just broad stroke a couple. One of the things that we could do is we could work to align our specials block. So you know that in secondary world, they have periods. We have periods of sorts too, with specials, with our WIN block when our kids get intervention services, but we haven't always been able to align them across all 4 buildings time-wise, which means that if we share staff and they're traveling, the district is losing out on efficiency of staffing and our timing. And that's one thing we're able to work towards as a result of putting us all on the same schedule. So that's just an example of something that is like a positive that we've worked together on over this stretch of time to prepare for next year. One of the things I just want to emphasize is the actual start times and how they work, just because everyone's always asking, what is it again? I even had a staff member today, what time do I have to be here again? So we are opening our doors at 7:30 for elementary, and the student day will start at 7:45. That is the same 15-minute window we all currently have for entry. So whether you're dropped off, whether you walk, you're taking the bus, you have that 15-minute window. At the end of our day, we close at 2:05, and we are giving ourselves the same 15-minute window we do now. So 2:20, the buses all roll. The huge advantage we have at the elementary level is all the buses will be there to empty at the start of that 15-minute window, and all the buses should be there, as John promises, at the end, sort of, to leave. We know we have a responsibility to get the buses rolling because of everybody behind us, and we've lived being the behind group, so we know how effective we will be getting the kids out the door. So I just want to point out that 15-minute window on either side still exists. It's just shifting for us. So thank you for aligning us. Thank you for the support in changing our times. We've been working, like I said, to align some things. We did a lot of planning around the broad sense of the day, including where do lunches fall within that, where does breakfast fall, how do we manage our arrival and dismissal procedures, and we had a lot of help doing that. We worked with John on specific things. We worked with Jeremy and Michelle Savage to work through some of the things. UPK we had to work through. So those are some of the generalities. I will turn it over to some more logistical people that get into the details, but anything about what I said that you might have a question about.
What is the UPK start time?
It is 1 hour after us, 8:30 to 1 hour before us ish, 1:30. So it's shifting like we are shifting. So 8:30 to 1:30.
But it is different at the out-of-district placements. So like there's a generations class, I just know because Bud's in the 9 to 2, I think, one.
The off-site
Yeah.
district.
The off-site ones are different.
Yep, very different.
Yeah, if you're,
Great point.
I would just, if I could, if you're a family that's going to UPK, please pay attention to the flyers and the emails that you're getting specifically, because there's a
your
couple
site.
nuances, but it's about those times.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to share. So Beck and I are going to talk about just some of the big themes that we've explored throughout the logistics planning. And I have to say, it's been a really nice challenge for all of us just to collaborate and work together and work through this. And the biggest logistic really when we look at our facilities is just space, because essentially what we're doing at elementary is we're taking everything that we used to do before the school day started, and now we're flipping it into the afternoon. So that would include things like our ensembles, band and orchestra. It would include our faculty meetings, our grade level meetings, our EWI, early warning indicator meetings, our MTSS meetings. So all of those things need to go in the afternoon, as well as clubs. So the big coordination piece was across the 4 elementary buildings, was making sure that we staggered our days for ensembles. Northside will have 2 days a week for our band and orchestra, and JA and Brooks Hill, they're going to combine for their ensembles on another 2 days a week. We also pick different days for our faculty meetings and our grade level meetings to allow the directors to attend the meetings on different days as well. And again, just for building planning, thinking through having the YMCA potentially across all of our buildings, the Dudley Northside site, JA and Brooks Hill, we needed to make sure there was enough space to run all of these things after school. A decision that we made, again, in thinking through space, was to pause clubs for the first 10 weeks of the school year. We usually do a fall sessions of clubs, and then we like to call it a spring, but essentially it starts in February. And that really, we just wanted to make sure that the space was there and that the busing would work out as well. So we love clubs. That's really important to elementary school. But if we're going to do it, we want to make sure that we can do it really well. So we're going to do a pause until spring for clubs. Something else we work through is just the different staff hours. So what does it mean now your workday as an FEA member? So that's 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after the start time. What does that look like for clerical? What does that look like for our paraprofessionals, our custodians, our sentries? So really partnering with those professionals to work through different times. There's going to be a staggered start for our clerical staff, meaning, main office secretaries, principal secretaries will probably be the first ones in at 6:45 to help with substitutes, and then we'll stagger the other secretaries in attendance a little bit later in the morning. Something else we took a look at was field trips. Kind of flips our day now, no one's going to welcome us at 8 o'clock and open in the morning. So there's a really nice survey that's out right now to look at the field trips, what is possible, knowing our new hours are really 9 o'clock would be the earliest that we could get out of the building to accommodate secondary busing, and then making sure we're back by 1:30 to allow those buses for the afternoon pickup. And then probably just another really nice thing and an important thing is just working with our both buildings on just things that are important for staff morale, traditions, like a holiday breakfast. Are we really all going to get to school at 6 o'clock now for the holiday breakfast, or are those things going to look like holiday lunches? But each building has traditions, and then making sure we're just working with our team so that we can keep those great things that make each of our buildings special still happen with the time change.
Love it. Thank
Middle
you.
school?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we have a lot of very similar things that we're working through at the middle school level, but because we are moving to the later time, it allows us the opportunity to have clubs before and after school. And what we did, and just started that today, is we had our club advisors talk to their students and see, what do you prefer? Do you think you're going to want to come in before school? Do you think you're going to want to come in after school? What are the things that might prevent you or entice you to do one or the other? And a lot of students' feedback was that they are looking forward to the opportunity to have before school clubs, so that they don't have to pick between a club and a sport, which isn't something I even thought about, but it makes so much sense. So we're going to be starting our sentries early in the morning, 7:30 for us. We're going to have them there till 4:40. Our school hours are going to be 8:40 to 3:25. So it's really going to allow a lot of opportunities for our students. And although with the survey, they've given some thoughts to what they think they want, we're going to do something very similar to the elementary schools. Wait a little bit, get into a routine, re-survey the students, and really make sure that what we're offering is what they want and what they're going to be able to do. John's done a really nice job too, and told us that we'll be able to offer some before school transportation and after school transportation to allow for students to have those opportunities.
Can I ask a question? So
Yeah,
right
I'd
now
love
with
to.
after school clubs with busing, it's just whoever gets on, my understanding from my children, whoever gets on the bus, they tell the bus driver where they live, and they just kind of make up a route and the way that they're able to. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So before school, how does that work? Like, how do you predict who's coming? And
Yeah, come on over.
Yeah, so that was one of our concerns as well, because we can't route a bus to pick up every club student. So we're looking at centralized pickup locations. We're probably going to use 2 buses. I think we have 6 or 8 centralized pickup locations where the parents will have to get their students to that location, and then we'll bring them into the school.
that's great. Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you have any other questions for what we presented?
The 7:30 window of when you open up and have sentries there, that is not lost on me.
Yes.
Especially when we take a look at some of our 6th grade students who might need some before school care. I mean, not that you're going to be providing childcare, but it'll be a supervised, safe spot if parents need to get to work by 8 o'clock. It's good to know that that will be open and they don't have to engage in the ramp care.
Absolutely. And a club, not really a club,
Something that we're going to be starting next week in our school is we're going to have homework help provided by teachers, and one teacher is going to take each of the after-school days where we have buses. So I'm thinking that we'll be able to do something similar and have some pre-instructional stuff while they're having breakfast and supervised by Centuries.
Breakfast. That's right.
That's breakfast. Well, that's great. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan.
Thank you.
Let's keep coming. Let's go.
Don't worry, I'm the last one, everybody. Communication, one of the really important parts of any rollout of any plan. So I just wanted to start in first, as Jefferson Avenue principal, we've lived the tier 1 cycle of busing, and now to have all elementary schools on the same tier, all 4 of us, it's going to be really exponential. We know the vertical and horizontal work that happens across our elementary schools and how important that is, and now to all be on that time frame in that tier 1 is going to be really powerful for our students and staff. So I just want to share my appreciation to that. So we talk about the rollout of this time change. We know communication is really, really important. So some of the aspects of communication we use were beginning with a really appropriate place, our PTA. So in the fall, when we started to have the confirmation of the plan, we began having those open and transparent conversations at our PTA meetings. And that became leverage to our ongoing kind of updates and components to time change with our families and PTA advocates. The second part is faculty meetings. We know that our staff has impacts professionally and personally based upon the specific times that they need to work and be at school. So those became components to our faculty meetings around the turn to the new year. Additionally, within faculty meetings, we use those time to brainstorm with staff what are some questions, wonders, and areas of opportunity. I think Principal Moretter talked about it just a moment ago, like some of our traditions are customs, the early morning celebrations or activities now make it shifted to the afternoon. So we've already began as a building and as buildings looking at what are those adjustments we may make to our traditional practices based upon the adjustment in time. Again, minor for Jefferson Avenue, much greater for our other 3 elementary schools. Within that became knowing that time change has an impact on childcare. So we began posting and flying the YMCA wrap care information as soon as it became released. We added that to our e-news with sign-up deadlines, with contact information, frequently asked questions, knowing that the support of the YMCA in need of our families is most likely increasing. We know that incoming kindergarten, our newest families, we're going to be having front and center personal connections with them through our incoming kindergarten parent orientations. Jefferson Avenue is actually on Thursday. So that's where we are going to really go into detail and make sure that our families are aware of what to expect for the coming school year and what the time change impact is. We know that ongoing information is important, so we have an infographic that we've started to add to our e-news that's just going to exist in there, very visual and graphic, and it's just going to exist in there each and every week as a way to make sure that it's in front of our families. Additionally, similar to like the consolidation corner, very shortly we're going to have a time change corner, and that's going to be a component to all of our e-newses that also, again, exists on the district website. We know the success that we've heard of the consolidation time change and thinking that the consolidation corner, we know that for a time change, that is another great opportunity for us to do that, and that's something that very shortly will be a part of all elementary principal e-news.
I'd have to say that the leadership that this group has shown has been amazing. Just listening to all the nuances of school and how do you do school. It wasn't as simple as me going to them, we're changing school. And they let me get away with it for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden they started really asking all the right questions. There's been Google Docs that have been under development. Lindsay Reddig has been amazing in collating this and streamlining the communication. But it's the leadership has been second to none because you know the questions that we don't know, and you know the answers to those questions. And if you don't know the answers collectively, it's been wonderful to see you guys collaborate yourselves through that. So I know the board might have some questions, but before we do that, I want Sarah Welsh to come forward a little bit. She spent some time engaged in a consolidation. She's the only one who's been through it. So I'm sort of putting you on the spot. We've talked about it. How will this happen if you had to project?
I think just from living it, and I lived it right before COVID started in another district. So that was a whole other ball game that kind of happened around the same time. But you just get into the routine. But communication is key. So I think the fact that we're here tonight, that we've been brainstorming, we're going to get visuals, graphics, like what Ryan was saying in our e-news, all the way until day one of experiencing this new schedule. That's just going to help us get used to it. And I think, like Principal Murader was sharing, those staff questions about when are we doing breakfast club? Well, now it's going to be Wednesday treat club during the day. It may sound minute, but it's so important. So we've been just listening to staff about what they need, about their own child care, just making sure that they are going to be equipped to be able to be in the classroom by 7:30 to greet our kids. So I think just supporting each other, continuing to listen, communicate, because we will get through it together, and it will be obviously what we've all decided best for our kids at this time. So,
Any questions before we go to the next part on UPK?
I have a question just to thank you. I know this is like the tip of the iceberg of all the details, and you don't have time to tell us everything, but it's really nice, like when we talk to community members, to be able to feel confident saying like, oh, they're thinking of like all these things. Like definitely reach out, but like there's a lot of thought, and just to see what you guys are doing like helps us as representatives to the community really feel confident in what the work that's being done. So thanks.
Yeah, nice job kind of curating information, hit on some really big stuff that everyone's asking, but also some of the stuff that maybe not everyone's totally thinking about if you're not in the building every day. So that was really helpful to get kind of both sides of that.
Yeah.
So the UPK piece, yes, thank you, but you might want to be a part of this too, because I bet you know the answers to the questions, right? So UPK, excuse me, wraparound care, rep care.
I was going to say, I think you're, yeah,
Wrap care expanded before and after school care is going to be provided by the YMCA, right? And it's for students up to age 12, right? And after school care sites will be at all 4 schools. Right? Here are some preliminary numbers that we have to date. You see, per YMCA, in order to run a morning care at a location, there must be 10 or more enrollments for UPK students for K through 6, right? And they've been in enrollment for about how many weeks now, Dr. T? You could jump right in. You've been integral to this, so.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we've had open enrollment for both UPK and then legacy families, so families that were already part of UPK for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now, Linz? 2 to 3 weeks? March 27th. Okay. In 1 week for new families, yeah. So we've been in enrollment, in registration. We are thinking in our conversations with the Y that morning enrollment will tighten up as soon as we get bus schedules out to families, because families are just kind of, we're not really sure if we're going to need morning care. It depends if my bus gets there at 7:05 or it gets there at 7:25. And so we're just watching those numbers carefully. And the interesting thing about the UPK wrap care is that because of the age, UPK students can be grouped with kindergarten students, but not with other students. And so we need to have a critical mass in order to run those before and after. We're pretty confident about the after school, but it's the morning piece. So the Y will be over communicating with families. They've assured us that they'll be calling people throughout the next couple of weeks just to make sure that they have their choices and they understand the Y has a count for us.
I have a quick question. Speaking about the bus schedules and tightening up that morning piece, I know sometimes the bus schedules don't come out until very close to the start of school. Do you know when they'll come out this year so that people will have that time to make that decision about the morning care?
I can't guarantee anything, but we're hoping that we will have it out a week or so earlier than normal. Every day I'm going in and we are getting child care forms, we're getting shared custody forms, we're getting all of those forms that most people have gotten one time sometimes. But yeah, we're going through it constantly. I think we're going to be in a much better position now from all of the work that my team is putting into this before the start of school.
Yeah, I would just add that given the window that John gave us today, most families will be able to make an informed decision about needing the morning care. Also knowing that the school buildings, the elementary school buildings will open at 7:30, is probably something that can help families make a decision. If you're still in need of wrap care, please reach out to the YMCA. They can help you with their questions.
What does it look like? I'm looking at Jefferson Ave in the afternoon. We're 6 kids over the capacity. How is that going to happen?
Yeah, so the Y is ready and willing to increase programming based on enrollment. What we will need to do is license more spaces in the JA campus. Right now, we are licensed up to 90 students for the Y at that campus. I'm just looking at Lindsay because Lindsay and I sit on these calls together, making sure I dotted all my I's.
That's a great point that families will have access to, or that we know kind of the range of bus times and that the building will be open at 7:30. How is that being communicated to families in advance so that they can prepare?
Yeah, so as the team mentioned, we're gonna, in their newsletters, there'll be a blast all the time about consolidation and time change specifically for the elementary. So there'll be a Q&A, be questions. Lindsay's got a website, of course, a link in our website ready to go. We will be sending out newsletters over the summer. There's a consolidation and a time change newsletter coming out. So we will be killing you with communication, and hopefully that all of your questions will be answered. But as always, if you have a question, you can reach out to anybody, your building principals. If they don't know the answer, they'll find it for us, or there's direct email access to our communications.
I think there'll be a place to go too, right? I mean, so I think that's.
I would expect,
So
but
that,
yeah,
so I think that's, you know, there will be questions, and there'll be communications, and there'll be communications that people understandably miss because there's communications everywhere, right? But I think just because of the organization and what the expectations was from the leadership team and how Lindsay was being able to streamline it, we're gonna be able to say, click this link, right? And you'll find questions as such, so.
I was just gonna say. Yeah. Yep. And I think the middle school option is a relief for many sixth grade parents. So I think we learned that maybe at I was like, when did we hear this? At JP, which I appreciated
I mean, how
finding
cool
that
would the homework help be? I mean, I know that's not guaranteed, but that's a great option too.
Use of time.
Yeah. When you're really frustrated the night before, like just go to bed. Yeah. You can go to school early tomorrow. Yeah, and get some help because I don't know what to do anymore. Yeah.
Thank you, team. If you have no other questions,
No,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful job. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, so that leads us to our board member committee reports. So I'll throw it out there to the group.
Rich, feel free to add details, but Rich and I were at last week's Audit and Finance Committee, and just a few kind of overarching takeaways. The initial report was our claims internal auditor report, Justin Paliotti. I hope I said his name right. He audits every single check we write or that is written. And just really proud that we have a 97 to 99% check accuracy. So really, really encouraging. And just a really good reminder that there are so many eyes and just so many checks on our auditing process and the way that our district runs and takes care of our financial information. I think that came through really clear. Next up will be our next internal audit will be the fuel system billing, how we bill back municipalities for the use of fuel. And then just finally, working with a local company of looking at how good we are at investing and managing our cash flow. So really good pieces for all of us to realize. But I think just the general overarching is knowing how many people are behind the scenes taking a look at the financial health of our district. And I know very soon we'll be getting our budget update, so we'll wait for Jeremy to do that.
Jan and I also had the opportunity, we sat in on legislative this month to meet with Regent Hale of the Board of Regents. And as many of you know, the Portrait of the Graduate is coming forth out of state ed. I have concerns and worries, and I'll be frank. I believe deeply in the portrait of a graduate. It is the right move, and it is who we want to see as New York State graduates. I unfortunately left that meeting feeling like the time, the energy, and to be blunt, the funding from state ed, from the state, is not forthcoming. So there was a lot of talk about local control, which I do appreciate, but I also look at the vast needs throughout New York State, and that is going to lead to very inequitable enactments of the portrait of the graduate if the state isn't holding kind of a tight framework. So I really do worry, and I really do worry because state ed doesn't control the funding. The legislature and the governor's office control the funding, and if they're not excited and putting the time into it and the funding behind it, I worry that it'll be adopted and it won't be lived and reflected on and enacted in the way it should. So I left that meeting with concerns, but hopefully state ed will hear them and rectify.
Anyone else? Okay. Which leads us to the treasurer and investment update.
All right, treasurer's report for the month of February. Beginning cash balance, $99.2 million. Receipts came in at just over $3 million. Disbursements, just over $12 million. Again, that's normal. Most months in school districts, your expenses exceed your revenues. Ending cash balance of just over $90.2 million. And you can see below there how it's invested. We have some money put aside in some higher yield accounts with the money markets and the CDARS. And then we also have some fixed money tied up in some longer term treasury bills there. And then the difference between that 90.2 and the 89.8 there, roughly that $400,000 is our active cash to pay our payroll, accounts payable. So Chris is doing an excellent job of keeping the investments up to date. Any questions?
Nope. Okay, thank you. Okay, and now the highlight of tonight, our 2026-27 budget presentation.
Good evening again. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present a budget for the 2026-27 school year with Jeremy Nardone, our business official, who's done an amazing job coming in strong, really trying to understand how.
I'm just going to make sure is your microphone on?
Alive and well.
Wow, you sounded quiet.
That's how Lisa sounded earlier.
Okay, never mind.
Maybe we're in a
It's It's not picking it up, or? All right. Well, anyways, I want to say thank you to your team, to our administrative team, to the Board of Education, who helped really shape this year's budget, to our district office team, who there are many moving parts to it, as I explained earlier. Anytime that you build a budget that it impacts people, it's a hard budget, right? And there's degrees of how it impacted people. This budget will give students the opportunity to thrive, to have meaningful memories and engage. There are also impacts from a human perspective where there were positions that needed to be cut so we could balance the budget. We took advantage of attrition to minimize the impacts, but when we did that, as we talked about, it created shifts in how people do work. So it's been a challenging budget season, but I don't want the human factor to be lost in all this. And I feel good about this budget in that it will give students the same opportunities to thrive and be successful and create memories. It will meet our community's expectations. But again, the human factors are real. And I just think it's important to acknowledge that. And again, starting with the appreciations, but this is our instructional budget. In essence, the value of our Fairport schools. gathered here to present the budget to the Board of Education. Very specifically, we're going to be talking about some goals that we had, enrollments and sections that will be for 2026-27, the expenditures that are driving this budget from the program, the administrative and capital, and the revenues that we will use to balance the budget, and of course some voter propositions. Every budget season starts off with budget goals, and I'm really grateful that we do it throughout the entire year. By early fall, we have the goals established, and that helps us begin to focus the budget and building the budget and making decisions. So that starts with our Board of Education and the work that you've done. But we have a budget that speaks to our MTSS priorities. We will continue to build on them. All year long, you've been hearing about them. We will be able to continue to do that and see the growth and expansion as we go to 26-27 with this year's budget. We want to invest in and plan for modern, environmentally and sustainable and safe facilities. That will be a continued expectation that will be achieved through this budget. And throughout this budget, this year's budget in particular, it is about fiscal sustainability and being thoughtful and transparent and how we could be responsive and responsible as we move into 26 and 27 school year and beyond. How did we do it this year? How did we really get to the heart of the last time we talked in public was $781,000 to zero? Well, we maximized reductions through attrition. There was 23 total positions, which included, unfortunately, 5 cuts, right? Which we will talk about in a little bit. Decreased health insurance budget due to analyzing the April health insurance bill, because the bill comes in monthly, and Jeremy was able to make some adjustments on actual use. So that was how it was reduced. And also, on the opposite side of those reductions, there's healthcare that was reduced as well. So that was part of the reduction to get to zero. Adjusting the UPK local share budget based upon estimated increased state funding, which we've been told multiple times that those dollars are in the next round of the governors or the final governor's run. In the management of non-instructional expenses such as gas, fuel, utilities, based upon our most recent invoices. So that helped us project and narrow that down, and that helped us reduce our budget down to zero. To narrow it down even further, this list, again, through attrition. That means we were not filling positions that were open, that were in the budget. These positions, one administrator, and that was done through staffing analysis and the consolidation. Made that decision early in the process, and working through those details and how to move through that piece of attrition. There's one full-time nurse as a result of the staffing analysis and consolidation. So we categorized it was because of the consolidation, right? Because we knew that there was going to be some natural efficiencies, and these are the efficiencies that we realized. There's 2 English ELA teachers or positions at the secondary. That was simply through course request. We don't have seats being filled, so naturally you're not going to fill those positions. 2 social studies positions as well. An assistant community resource specialist, a psychologist, 1 librarian. There'll still be a librarian here at Fairport High School servicing our students. 3 full-time intervention specialists. They will be repurposed back into the classroom. 2 counselors, which again will be repurposed through our organization, as you learned about during the workshop, and how we're going to provide mandated counseling services for the non-mandated programming. We reduce 1.0 Century. We reduce a technology teacher, again, as a result of course request. Students were not taking courses, so we didn't fill a position that was budgeted. 2 cleaners as a result of the consolidation as well. Elimination of STAR program. We know that's an important program for our middle school and middle school students and families, but we will be providing other opportunities to connect with those students who we flagged. As we talked about, counselors and principals will be working and communicating with those families this summer. And unfortunately, there was the one math educator and 3 K-5 health educators and 1 assistant communication specialist at district office. So that is how we work through the budget deficit. Additionally, there were reductions in maintenance decreases. We decreased the facilities budget by $200,000, managing utility increases such as gas, electric, and water. Safety and security reduced summer sentries because we're not hosting regional summer school, so you don't need the same number of sentries. Supervision, managing supervision costs for our supervisors and our sentries. Again, they provide incredible value. That was shared earlier this evening with our safety plan presentation by Sam Farina. But we'll be managing that budget line a little bit more closely. Composting, that was switched over and transferred to food service, which is its own funding source. So we'll be taking dollars out of the food service budget, which is not the same as our general fund budget, to support composting. And I believe that was a $50,000 savings is right there. And maximizing BOCES aid, and in credit to Jeremy, he was, constantly going through the books, and every time that he would, find a way to generate maximize aid, such as the AEDs that we have throughout our district, he would send me a text to talk about, that's where we get opportunities more than 70 cents on the dollar to maximize aid. Enrollment, we've talked about enrollment. You've seen this slide, and it tells a story. It talks about how the numbers are lower than what we're graduating, right? We're entering more than what we're graduating, but throughout the years, we do know that we have replacement, live where students will be coming to our schools, and we anticipate to be around 400 to 420, and there'll be years where we'll be a little bit higher than that, just based upon some bubbles, but enrollments have been pretty steady for the past several years, and I anticipate that we'll continue to do these enrollment studies because it's important, especially when we have our facilities and we're talking about long-range planning, but this really substantiates the consolidation and speaks to the fact that it's going to be here, or that consolidation and using Fairport High School as a 912 building was actually the right move from an enrollment projection perspective. Our K-6 class sizes, as we talked about last meeting, we had to increase some of our targets. You'll see from 25 to 26, 26, 27, there's increases in kindergarten from 18 to 20, first grade 20 to 22, second grade 20 to 22, third grade 20 to 22, fourth grade stayed the same as far as our targets go. Same thing for 5, and sixth grade went up by 1 student to 26. But you'll see to the right, the contractual limits, we're well within those ranges and within county range limits as well, based upon our analysis and conversations with our colleagues. K-6 sections, you'll see that we are losing 1 section in K-6. And then secondary, these are our class sizes, 23 to 30, 23 to 30 in grades 7th and 8th, and in grades 9 through 12, 24 to 30. And we talked about how attrition has taken some of our 7th and 8th grade class sizes and it moved them from 18, 19, 20 to up to 22, 23 in some cases, and there might be some anomalies to that. But we also know that there are some capstone courses in art. Technology has some safety requirements. There needs some smaller class sizes, so there'll be some anomalies that we need to adhere to. Again, if there's safety, space limitations, and unique programming opportunities, we want to provide those to our students. And again, this budget provides that. Jeremy's going to take us the rest of the way.
All right, thank you very much. So this budget comes down to one thing, and we've been talking about it now for about 2 years: health insurance. over 2.5. I want to say it's like 2.75 is our total increase in health insurance. When you're building a budget, it comes down to two things. You got your revenue, which is your foundation aid and your taxes, and you got your expenses, which is your salaries and your health insurance. When your taxes stay equal with your contractual raises that are in your contracts, but then foundation aid doesn't even come in close to what health insurance comes in, that's what makes budgets very tough to put together. So looking at some different things, ERS rate did increase this year from 16.5 to 17.6. We are seeing a little bit of relief in our TRS rate, going down to an estimated 8.24. It doesn't get solidified until a little bit later, but that is the rate that we are using. We've had updates. It came out with a rate of 8.25 to 8.75, then it got adjusted to 8.24, so we're confident it's going to come in around that area. But health insurance is the big one there. And then you can see some other benefits there with workers' comp, some FICA med, unemployment, disability, life insurance. That's all contractual in our different contracts.
Sorry, before you go on from this, so
Absolutely.
the 2.5 million increase in insurance earlier in the early budget season, it was like in the 3 to like 3.5 to 4.
It was over 4 at one point.
Over 4. So can you just kind of walk us through how you got from that number to this number?
Absolutely. So as Superintendent Provenzano stated a little bit earlier, as we get the bills that are coming in, and the rate increase happens January 1. So once we get the January bill and into February bill, we actually saw the amount that we're paying every month was dropping. So our January bill was 2.1 million, our February bill was 2,060,000, then it was 2,040,000. So when your monthly bills drop $20,000 to $60,000, doesn't sound like a lot, but when you multiply that over 12 months, now that's some money. In addition, as Superintendent Provenzano stated, with the cuts due to attrition, we were able to forecast a little bit less of a health insurance cost because those are positions that we're not going to have next year that are going to be taking the health insurance plan. So we are being a little bit aggressive in how we're budgeting for health insurance, not knowing if we're going to get that extra 1% in foundation aid. Our program budget, so this is why we're here, instructional budget, 74.08%. It's down a little bit compared to what it was last year, but it's still in the 74% range. And you have just your different levels there. So some of your legal is for the program and instructional side. You have your staff development, which a big increase there is related to BOCES. BOCES, like us, has health insurance costs. So as health insurance costs is increasing, so is BOCES expenses as well. To run their program. So a large piece of that increase was due to our staff development BOCES line, which does generate aid the following year, so just know that. Our general instruction, which is all our regular education teachers, went up to 1.02%. Our special programs, which is our special education, went up 4.74% there, and then some decreases to summer school and library due to changes in the budget and not hosting certain summer programs this year, like the regional summer school, not needing us to hire back a century for that and decreasing in the amount that we can offer there. Moving on with some more program budgets, we got our pupil services, which is anything from your guidance counselors, your nurses, so you did see a little bit of a reduction there. And then you have your transportation, which again, any increase in transportation, which is primarily your contractual increases there, does generate aid back the following year in transportation aid. Community service stayed flat, and there's our employee benefits. So although health insurance, we talked about a $2.5 million increase, there's other factors that go into it, so as a percentage it doesn't look as bad, but again, the TRS rate, which is big in the program side of things for our teachers, did go down. And our total program budget is up about $4 million, going from $123 million to $127 million. And that's the first part of the three-part budget, which we are required by law to present the budget in that format. Moving forward to our administrative budget, this is anything from your administrator salaries and benefits to all your administrative softwares that we use, and some of them are up there. Our parent squares, our front lines, our school tools, Envision, the accounting system that we use to manage all the district's finance, and our HR platform. All that is administrative costs. And aided a little bit differently and sometimes not aided as part of BOCES. And we do cross-contract with a bunch of different BOCES just to try to get something aided Whenever you can run something through BOCES and generate aid on it, we're always looking at that. That's always a topic of conversation. Dr. T mentioned we are meeting tomorrow to talk about a new BOCES coaster. Anytime there's money to be had, we should be going after it and being proactive. On the administrative side there, again, you're going to see that decrease in the Board of Education, which we talked about when we discussed the non-instructional budget, which is just a reclassification of salaries from the Board of Education to the central administration, which is a superintendent line. So just a reallocation due to different budgeting methodologies.
And the salaries are not for us.
Correct. Yes.
Just clarifying that.
I apologize.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not for the board members. You have your finance charges there. Again, we have an employee who is split between HR and business, and that's our benefits. We're just coding it all in one code now, just to make it a little easier. You have your legal, your personnel, which is anything from your legal cost to your HR cost to our communications as well. Other central services is your BOCES costs for technology. So a lot of those softwares that I mentioned are included in those other central services costs, and that is up big there. And again, that is just because also we're reclassifying some expenses. So for example, we send through BOCES our maintenance security contract and our maintenance building management system contract. So by signing up with a contract with our vendor, Day Automation, we can get all that aided and have a one-shot expense so it's easier to budget. In the past, that was budgeted for in facilities. Now we transferred that over so it looks like a bigger increase than it is. It's just all reallocations. And making sure we're budgeting for it in the right place so then when the bills come in, it kind of matches up to our budget.
Hey, Jeremy, can I have you back up a couple slides?
Sure.
Just to clarify for me and then for anyone who might be watching. So it seems like the two big increases are and this might be a question to Superintendent Provenzano too, but employee benefits, 2.1 million, and then the special programs being $1.3 million increase. So like what's driving the $1.3 million increase there?
A lot of that is due to BOCES special education placements and also non-BOCES special education placements. So your private school tuitions and stuff like that for your school, the Holy Childhood, Hillside, Mary Cariola. When you see an increase in those students, you have an increase in cost, and that does generate private and public excess cost aid in the following year. So those expenses are up, and then also our contractual costs have gone up just with inflation and what you're seeing. Our contractual costs with those special programs are increasing as well. Yeah, absolutely. All right, and then obviously there's an employee benefits part of the administrative budget as well, and that is up again, that 5%. And total administrative budget is up a little bit over $1,100,000, going to about $19 million. And the percentage is staying roughly flat. Last year was in the 11s as well. I think it was 11.1, now it's 11.44. Capital budget. We have 12 buildings here. We have many acres that we have to mow and take care of, and all that comes at a price. And also our buses and all the good stuff to make sure that our kids can get here safe and ready to learn. Capital component, you can see there, total percent of the budget is about 14.5% of the budget is related to the capital. You can see your operations, maintenance, and security, which is simply your buildings and grounds, your maintenance team, and your security team. Refunds of real property taxes is also included in this, and this is going to be a big thing this year with the reassessments that are happening. You might see a big increase in the amount of people fighting their assessments, so you have some money in there to cover that for the year. Because once the assessment is challenged after the taxes have already been set, the district actually loses that money for the 1 year until it gets fixed for the next assessment cycle.
Since they're going through the process so early on in school, taxes aren't collected till September.
Yeah.
Do you think that's enough to have, or
No.
would we look at our reserves in that situation if there was more?
Yeah, you have the tax certiorari reserve as well, but although the process is done and you can challenge your assessment in May, when you get into the arbitration and really challenging to lower that assessment, that could go through October. So a lot of times that can go, the ones that can have a big impact on the budget actually go a little later.
Okay.
Yep, great question. Our bus purchase there, almost the same dollar amount. We try to buy anywhere from 8 to 11 buses every year, depending on our replacement cycle, and also depending on if they're large buses, the 70 passenger or 67 passenger, or the smaller passenger. This year we're buying 7 large buses, 2 small buses, and just like last year, we are not trading in every single bus. We want to be ready for the consolidation and anything that throws at us, so we're going to hold them back. Every trade-in is about $2,500, so it's not much of a loss. But again, if everything's fine, we'll eventually get rid of those buses if they're not needed in the future. And total capital is up from $23.1 million to about $24.9 million, or a $1.7 million increase there. Our bus purchase, so the total cost of all the buses that we want to buy is about $1.8 million. You can see trading in the buses there gives you a whopping $13,000 back. So the total net cost is just shy of $1.8 million. And then we are asking the community to use about $185,000 from 2 of our bus purchase reserves. We're looking to finish our 2002 bus reserve out. It's 23 years old. So we're going to try to close that one out. It's about $88,000 from that one. And then the remaining, or $95,000 or $98,000, will come from our other bus reserve that hopefully we can continue to replenish due to the electric bus mandate. And also, just so you know, our electric bus is set to arrive still in June, so we're still hopeful to get that as well. Total expenditures just shows you from one year to another. Our budget is up over $6 million, almost $7 million this year. And a large portion of that too, you cannot always look at a budget-to-budget increase the same as a tax increase, because the budget-to-budget increase could also be related to debt, and that's exactly what our budget is based on. So when you look at the increase in debt because of certain projects coming on the books, you're also going to have that associated increase in building aid, which is what we saw this year. So our debt is up over $1 million, which means if you're getting building aid at 74%, your aid is up $740,000 on that million. For every million it goes up. So budgeting for state aid. As we mentioned, we do not know if we're going to get more than 1%. The budget was due April 1st. They had extenders out until tomorrow. I think the last extender is till tomorrow. Tomorrow, I bet you we're going to see another extender. So we have to solidify our budget to make sure that we hit all the legal requirements that the district clerk has to do, and making sure we hit all our transparency requirements for the community as well. So we are moving forward with the 1%. Again, we got a little bit more aggressive on the healthcare costs, knowing that those should come in a little bit lower than originally anticipated. But we are still hopeful that we will get that extra 1%. If we do, it'll just kind of offset how aggressive we were on the health insurance budgeting. And it'll put us in a good spot to see how are we trending once October and November bills start rolling in for health insurance. Because again, one of those things with health insurance is we're on a calendar year cycle here. We don't know what the 27 rates are going to be for RASH, which is 6 months of this budget. We have a good estimate, but those aren't solidified until October. So although we budgeted maybe 90% for the Aetna plan, it could come in at 100%. So that extra revenue could help go to that if in case the expense comes in more than anticipated. And again, as we did state, we did lower our UPK budget, hoping that the governor will go to a $10,000 per pupil for our UPK students, which will fully fund the program in the federal fund and alleviate the general fund needing to subsidize the program, which is awesome.
And from that, just from reading and hearing things in Albany, that's not a negotiating point. Like the legislature budget was the same as the governor budget. The foundation aid is different, and they're
negotiating other issues that have nothing to do with education.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Car insurance.
Our revenue side, so foundation aid, you will see the 1% increase there. Transportation, BOCES, and building aid, we are recognizing and seeing more aid there just related to the one-time BOCES purchases. And as we move forward, I'm really excited for this new BOCES coaster that's coming out that we're going to talk about tomorrow, because that could be a real revenue driver for us based on expenses that we're already paying. So it's not adding new expenses to the budget, it's just now giving you revenue on those expenses. So very excited to see what our meeting tomorrow holds, and I've been talking with all the business officials to see what's going to go on with it and what's happening, and we're all going to learn together, and next year's the first year for it. Our public and private excess cost aids, are the aids given on those BOCES placements and the non-BOCES placements, such as the School of the Holy Childhood, Mary Cariola. That is up a little bit. And then our aid for the instructional materials, urban suburban aid, and some tuition aid also is up a little bit. So total aid is going from 53 million to about 56.5 million, or a 5.34% increase. Our history of the foundation aid. So when foundation aid was fully funded in, you can see we got about $1.5 million going into the, my eyes are bad here, I think that's the 2021 or 2022 school year. And then we got that big $4.5 million increase. That's great, and that's allowed us to do some great things. However, health insurance now is ticking up, and we're seeing that go up. You can see the 1 year increase of $4 million. That was almost what we started our health insurance increase at this year, and we finished at 2.7. So that pretty much eliminated that increase in foundation aid in almost 1 year. But our foundation aid is flattening out. We had a good meeting with the state, Superintendent Provenzano and I, and we found out that we have to get 100 more students in order for us to receive even $1 more in foundation aid, or if there's changes to the formula, we'll be actively looking at that. Always hoping they update the formula. Our tax cap formula. So this shows the max amount that we can go out at. People, again, think it's a 2% cap. That's one factor on a 17-part formula. 2% is the rate of inflation. You cannot go above 2%. So if a rate of inflation, like this year, I believe it was 2.63. We were capped at 2. It's a multiplier. But there are exclusions that the district gets. Compares your debt to your aid, and also any changes in pilots from 1 year to another as well as a big factor in the formula. So 3.3%. And just to let people know again with the reassessments, the district collects the tax levy, right? So we don't collect any more if your assessment goes up. The only more money the district is collecting is that extra 3.3%. The 90 million, which was our levy this year, 25-26, that's what it was based on, and it's going up 3.3%. So even if your assessment doubles, that doesn't mean the district is doubling our revenue source. We collect strictly what the tax levy is. I just wanted to make sure we stated that because it is a point of contention out there as well.
I don't think you could state that enough.
Yeah, it's challenging. The town had a couple good seminars. I know we had a presentation, I want to say back in October. It's challenging. And for people who don't do this every day, you know, like for me, I understand it, I live it, I do it. So it's anything we can do to educate and talk to people about it. My door is always open. So come in and love to sit down and chat with you about it.
And thanks to you and Superintendent Provenzano for responding. There have been some community members who have reached out, which you would expect, you know, when you have the assessments that were really stale and people are seeing their new valuations and trying to understand it.
Yeah.
So thanks to you both, and also thanks to the people who take the time to reach out and understand it and not just rely on bad information that's floating around out there.
Absolutely. So our projected revenue, you can see there is up about almost $7 million there, going to 161 million. And then the way we're going to bridge the gap compared to our expenditures is going to be coming up, and that's going to be our reliance on reserves and fund balance. So here just shows a history of our assigned fund balance and appropriated reserves, which we use to balance the budget. You always want a portion of this to account for unanticipated expenditures. Superintendent Provenzano always states the one example, which is great, of a water main breaking, or we just had the Northside Dudley generator go. That costs money. If you don't have contingencies built into your budget, you can't afford that, and then what are you going to do, shut down school? That's not an option. So we have to have those contingencies put in place. So you can see there's minor tweaks to the assigned fund balance and appropriated reserves just to get to a whole dollar amount. You know, when you get to that, it's just easier to say, but there's very minor changes there. And the total amount that we're appropriating is down a little bit, and that's mainly based on our need for debt service funds. So again, that's just part of the tax cap formula and how much we're going to pull from our debt service reserve to pay for the current year costs for debt. And then when you put all that together, you have your total budget, which is your appropriations or your expenses of 172, 287, 859. I've already memorized the number. And total revenue of 161, 287, if my eyes are correct. And then once you factor in the transfer from debt service and your appropriated fund balance and reserves, it gets you to a balanced budget. and that shows that $0 there. And then I'm pleased to say our reliance on reserves and fund balance as a percent of our budget is going down. Comptroller likes to see that number in the 5s. Our auditor likes to see 4 to 6. So we're getting to that number, and we're not much higher than what we should be at.
Jeremy, I have a question.
Absolutely.
If the foundation aid comes in at the higher level, is it possible that 6.2% comes down even further if we're getting revenue? That means we no longer have to rely as much on the fund balance, or is that not how that works?
Great question. Not for 26, 27 because the budget's already set, but hopefully for 27, 28 that could play a factor. But yeah, once the budget is set, that's a percent of budget. So it compares that 10.675 to the 172 million. So even if we get that extra 1%, it doesn't affect your budget.
Okay, but it will help because it's then a source of revenue going forward.
Absolutely. And also, if we relied and we budgeted 2% for foundation aid, and say we only get 1, now we're starting 27, 28 budget in the hole. Right? We're starting with a number higher than what we're actually getting. So we're trying to be nice to 27, 28's budget creation as well. Great way to say it. We want to be nice.
We're going to watch this a year from now and say, well, that was very nice.
2 voter propositions for the taxpayers to consider. Number 1 is allowing us to spend out of our capital bus reserves to afford a partial bus. It's pretty much a full bus. Full bus now is just over $200,000, and this is about $185,000 of that will be coming from the reserves. And the second authorization is to create and allow us to fund a capital reserve. So because you have those contingencies built into the budget, if you have money left over at the end of the year, we want to give it back to the taxpayers by putting it into a capital reserve to fund future projects at no additional tax impact to the voters.
And I say this every time, but just again for people saying it in public, when you see the creating of the capital reserve fund, I think there's a $25 million cap in that. We are just creating the account. That is correct. That is like the cap. We're not putting money into it right now. We're just basically opening the account.
Yep, opening it to have it in case we have money at the end of a year, and this could be 5, 7 years in the future. You want to be able to have those reserves ready. Otherwise, you don't have a place to put the money if you do have overflow in the 1 year. And here is the actual language that we will have on the ballot that you will see. This is for our bus reserves. And again, for our capital reserve fund, $25 million, a 15-year funding on that as well. And again, this is not authorizing us to put any money into it. This is just creating it to put money into it in the future and to keep going with our capital project plan. Similar to people at the homes, they do capital renovations to their house. We just have a lot more buildings. 12 buildings here, a lot more square footage that we have to make sure we're maintaining consistently.
And that's part of the plan that we've had getting through the big capital campaigns that we've been doing is to get down to smaller, more manageable improvements on our capital projects. Smaller projects than the massive ones.
Yeah.
Better maintenance.
Yeah.
Any questions on anything with the reserves or anything with the propositions?
Just to clarify with reserve, so the community votes to create the reserve.
Yep.
But the community doesn't, later on, if we have money to put in it, the community doesn't vote on
to put money into it.
The board has to decide and approve that.
Yep.
With the recommendations from the district. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's an important point to understand is that this effectively opens the fund, but then also gives the board the ability to appropriate those funds that are listed here into that reserve in the future.
We do up to resolutions at the end of every year, up to X amount of dollars to put in the reserve that the board will authorize and approve. So that'll be funded through that. We need authorization from the voters to create it, and we also need authorization from the voters to spend from it. Not to put it in, but to spend and take it out, and that's what we're doing with the capital budget.
Which we saw recently with, which project was it where I think it was the recent capital improvement project where it was the 25 one, where we used the reserve, which is, a way to put that money back to the community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
A question that I've been asked a few times is, which capital projects are we still paying for, and how much longer are those projects, are we still paying for? I think some people have this idea that like when we say we're doing this project, it is like this one-time cost. We're paying for it, it's done, and we never have to pay for it again.
So think of a capital project borrowing, great question, similar to a mortgage on your house. Most people take a 15 or 30-year mortgage, right?
Mhm.
Our debt is usually 15 years.
Okay.
Sometimes it can go 30 if you're doing a brand new build. So some of the districts up north, if they're building a school, they can get a 30-year, but ours are 15. So it'll go back from any project that was finished around the 2011 timeframe. So 2019, I think there's a 2015 in there, 2012 or 13 as well. But that's a great question. I can get you all the projects that we're
Yeah.
still paying for.
I think we forget that
we approved them.
We've approved them and we're still paying for them.
And so essentially, the community votes to like take out that mortgage, and then they have to approve us paying that mortgage each year for the next 15 years. It's rolled into the budget.
It's rolled into the budget.
So
It's
they
our
have-
debt
yeah.
service.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I think we can expect some questions from the community on commitments that we made where we said, if you vote for this project, there's no tax impact. And we may expect some people to reach out asking, well, explain that to me, right?
Yeah.
Like we're seeing the tax levy go up, we're seeing this and that. The community might need some additional explanation at some point around, I voted for something with no tax impact. How does that actually work? So that might be a good discussion on it.
And the one thing with debt too, a lot of people, and I've gotten this question, if you have money left over at the end of the year, why don't you just pay down your debt? It's not always possible. Bonds are usually callable. They want their interest, and they're usually callable after 10 years on a 15-year note. So we are constantly in communication with our financial advisors whenever something is due to be callable, meaning we can refinance it. We're looking at interest rates. We're looking at the costs associated with refinancing, right? Just like if you finance your house, there's closing costs associated with that. There's, in essence, closing costs for the school as well. But we're always looking at that and making sure we're on top of it.
That's really interesting.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Well, we're at a point where you sit there and say, wow, I can't believe we got here, right? We started in July, moved through October, January, and here we are, April 21st next week. April 28th, there's going to be a budget breakfast, community forum with our local establishments and community leaders and union leaders as well. Board of Education members will be there. We've invited some of our local assembly members and senators to participate and understand the impact of our 2026-27 budget. May 5th will be a public hearing. We'll be presenting this to the community again. It will be on our YouTube broadcast as well. And on May 18th, May 19th, there's going to be an opportunity at Joanna Perrin Middle School Gymnasium for a budget vote and the election of 3 board seats from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Brett, the May 5th meeting, so often when people come here for public comments, we don't respond and interact with them. If they come on May 5th for the public hearing, can they ask questions in person and get answers there? Or is it also just kind of a sit? And
It's a public hearing. It's unfortunately not really well attended, right? So that's why we did the next week, the April 28th meetings, where we're going to have community members there.
So if they came on May 5th, would they be able to raise their hand and ask a question or no?
It's a public hearing. They can ask questions. 100% what I have done in the past is we get through the presentation and they can ask questions.
Okay.
Yes.
So unlike these types of meetings?
Yes,
okay.
it's not in the middle of it, so we get through it. Because if the board approves this tonight, I'll just be able to respond to questions, not really take information for feedback. So.
Perfect.
That's a good point. And people out there, if you do have questions, I mean, the under the hood is a good opportunity to do that. I've attended several of those, and I'm always perplexed why they're not better attended. But also, Superintendent Provenzano, Assistant Superintendent Ardone, like they're here to answer questions. Don't rely on things that you're hearing through the rumor mill. All our meetings are public. We've got all the information for you. So.
Thank you very much. If there's no more questions, we'll continue.
Are we good? Okay. Yep. Okay, so we move on to our board discussion action items. And our first item is the 2026-27 school budget. And I need a motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2026-27 school budget in the amount of $172,287,859. Brian?
Second. Oh,
Jan?
yeah, I haven't seconded anything yet.
Any discussion? I know we just had a lot, and I know we've had many. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
7-0. Okay, I need a motion that the Board of Ed approves the 2026-27 property tax report card as attached.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Brian? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Field trip requests, motion that the Board of Ed approves the attached field trip requests.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Nicole? All in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Second policy reads, I need a motion that the Board of Ed approves the second reading of the following policies, which are actually attached below.
So moved. Second.
Brian, Lisa, any discussion? I know we've seen these before. Okay, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Ed accepts the 2024-25 internal control risk assessment completed by EFPR Group, CPAs, PLLC as attached.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Nicole? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Ed approves the 2024-25 internal control audit, control cycle audit report completed by my vision is going, EFPR Group CPAs PLLC is attached. Brian?
Second.
Lisa? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Education approves the corrective action plan for the 2024-25 internal audit control cycle as attached.
So moved.
Lisa?
Second.
Mary Caitlin? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Education accepts the 2025-26 internal control risk assessment completed by EFPR Group, CPAs, PLLC as attached.
So moved.
Mary Caitlin?
Second.
Lisa? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that to approve the claims auditor report for July 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Brian? Nicole? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Education approves the following donation of furniture for the STEM-centered learning environments in the district.
So moved.
Second.
Lisa and Rich. It's a cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
There's a cool
There's
picture.
pictures of it.
Yes. Yep.
Very nice.
That's really, that was pretty exciting. Yep.
Very cool. Very nice.
So thank you for the donation. All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Motion that the Board of Education approve the attached list of poll workers for the May 19th, 2026 budget vote.
So moved.
Brian?
Second.
Jan?
Okay, so I'm just discussion-wise, I'm gonna abstain from this vote because my child's on the list.
And I will be abstaining from the vote for the same reason.
I see another.
All three of us, okay.
Do we have a-
All right, so we still have a quorum for 4 out of the 7, so 3 people abstaining. So all in favor?
Yeah, so to paraphrase,
Great experience.
yeah, the law says that we can have students over the age of 17 either work or volunteer their time, and it's a great experience. So we try to reach out to students that, and many times they're in National Honor Society, which means they can earn some volunteer hours that they need to maintain that. So that is why we are doing it.
Thank you.
Okay, can I call it?
I think you can.
Yeah,
I think
all
you
right.
can still call the vote.
All right.
Sorry.
Yep.
I jumped into it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Abstaining?
All abstain? Yes.
Aye.
Okay. Next up, I need a motion that the Board of Education approves the following extra classroom activities as attached. Brian?
Second?
Lisa? All in favor?
Oh, I just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to note the creation of the Music Honor Society. So I know a lot of our students
Oh,
do
cool.
National Honor Society, which is academics, or a World Language Honor Society. So this is for our exceptional musicians.
And look at that, you're 100% correct. That's exciting. But Medical Explorer,
I
I mean,
know.
what? I mean, that, like, these kids are given so many great opportunities. Our staff steps up and provides these Clio clubs. I love it.
Cool after the kids who came and talked about
Yeah.
adding anatomy classes or things for pre-med.
Mhm.
So that was nice.
We have a huge number of graduates who will head into the biology field. It's really
That was
exciting.
great. It's great for everywhere.
So, also, just
Celebrating everybody.
oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Also, a shout out to the Clio Club. This is a new club that I think has been brought in by a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. But just an amazing another outreach program to connect our technology savvy kiddos with members in the community who might like a little help managing and learning more about technology. If you haven't had a chance to read some of the attached notes from these community members thanking our students for helping them, it's so heartwarming. We all need a little help navigating.
I would wonder if I could get a direct phone number for my mother so that
I was
she
just gonna say the same thing. Do they have to live here? Because
it's just a great program. So thanks to those kids who are participating at. And Mary Keelan, after my mom gets a
after
visit.
well,
So you're gonna have to wait in line on that one.
Great experiences.
Okay, good. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
7-0. Which brings us to instructional. And I need a motion to approve the following instructional staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved.
Brian?
Second?
Nicole? Okay, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. I need a motion to approve the following non-instructional and civil service staff actions as recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved?
Lisa? Second. Mary Caitlin? All in favor? Aye. 7-0.
Are we doing the return?
Let's go back. I'm sorry. Nope. I was just gonna look back and see. I know that we mentioned retirements in the past. And there are some, and I know we'll be celebrating folks as well.
There's definitely
Yeah.
a number here. Thank you for queuing me back in here. I appreciate it. Looking at some of these names, really have made significant contributions to the culture and community of our Fairport district. So we're looking forward to celebrating them over the next several weeks and into next year, because some of those go into next year. So
Yeah, I know, some are kind of far out.
yeah, so yeah, they
So-
get them in there, and I think that's great and helps us with our planning. But we, there are there's one there that we'll be celebrating at the end of the year, school year.
That's in January, so. Okay, so moving on, just a motion to approve the following athletic staff actions is recommended by the superintendent of schools.
So moved?
Lisa? Brian? All in favor? Aye. 7-0, which brings us to the consent calendar. And I need a motion to approve the consent calendar. So moved. Mary Caitlin?
Second?
Lisa? All in favor? Aye. 7-0. Okay, so we have our Monroe 1 BOCES elections as well. So I need a motion that the Board of Ed cast one vote for the election of Lisa Layton, who is resident of the Penfield Central School District, as a member of the Monroe BOCES Board for the term of office that will begin July 1st, 2026 and end on June 30th, 2029.
So moved.
Lisa? Nicole? Any discussion? Nope. All in favor? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Lisa's awesome.
Yeah.
I know her through the autism community, and she's an incredible advocate, and she's great, so I hope our Lisa yes on that one.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I appreciate the people that are there, and I know we had a presentation, I think, at our last board meeting from BOCES 1 that talked about all the services that they do, so. Okay, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. And then there's another seat, so I need a motion that the Board of Ed cast one vote for the election of Amy West, resident of HFL, Central School District, as a member of the Monroe 1 BOCES Board for a term of office beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending on June 30th, 2029.
So moved.
Lisa? Brian? And I think Amy's coming back, which is nice too, because so she has experience. So, two great people. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. 7-0. And then I need a motion that the Board of Ed votes to approve the proposed Monroe 1 BOCES administrative budget in the amount of $6,421,080 for the 2026-27 fiscal year.
So moved. Second.
Mary Caitlin, Lisa. Again, we had that presentation last time, which really showcased what this is all about. So if you're wondering at home, you can check it out. All in favor? Aye, 7-0. And finally, I need a motion to enter into executive session for matters that are listed on the agenda. Brian?
Second.
Lisa? All in favor? Aye, 7-0. We will reconvene just to adjourn. So our meeting is over.
Mm-hmm.